In the vast expanse of space, the Drachnid survey vessel Stellar Shadow drifted silently at the edges of the Sol system. Admiral Jorax stood motionless, his scaled skin reflecting the dim starlight as he studied the holographic projection of Earth. His four amber eyes narrowed as they focused on the countless satellites and primitive space stations orbiting the blue planet. "Pathetic," he whispered, mandibles clicking softly. "Their technological advancement suggests early space-age development. No quantum signatures, no antimatter drives, not even basic gravitational manipulation." He manipulated the display, zooming in on various human installations. Lieutenant Nixus approached with a data crystal, her ceremonial armor gleaming in the starlight. "The Emperor will be pleased, Admiral. The planet's resources alone would sustain our expansion for centuries, and the indigenous species." She paused, bringing up images of Earth's cities. "They show promise as potential servants." What the Drachnids couldn't detect, hidden beneath the surface of human civilization, was the truth. In a quantum-shielded facility, deep within the Antarctic ice, Dr. Natalia Romano stood before a wall of advanced holographic displays, monitoring the alien vessel's every movement. The facility, known as Project Guardian, represented humanity's greatest secret. "They've taken the bait," she announced to the assembled military leaders. "Our primitive facade is holding. The quantum dampeners are masking our true technological signature perfectly." She brushed a strand of silver hair from her face, dark eyes reflecting the glow of the displays. General Marcus Way, veteran of Earth's hidden space force, nodded grimly. "How long until their main fleet arrives?" Natalia manipulated the holographic display, showing projected trajectories based on data collected from the dormant monitoring systems humanity had scattered throughout the galaxy decades ago. 3 months, maximum. They're already mobilizing their invasion force. The truth about humanity's technological advancement was Earth's most closely guarded secret. For over 50 years, since the first alien probe crashed in the Atacama Desert, humanity had been preparing. That crash site had yielded more than just advanced technology. It had provided a warning. The galaxy was not a peaceful place, and Earth lay in the path of an expanding empire. Rather than announce their discoveries to the world, a coalition of global powers had made an unprecedented decision. Earth would appear to develop normally, maintaining the facade of a young civilization, taking its first steps into space. Meanwhile, beneath the surface, humanity would prepare. The crashed probe had contained a quantum computer core that revolutionized human understanding of physics. Reverse engineering its technology had led to breakthroughs in propulsion, energy generation, and weapons systems. But humanity hadn't stopped there. They had improved upon the alien designs, creating hybrid technologies that merged human ingenuity with alien advancement. "Show me the latest tests of the quantum mesh defense system," Natalia requested. The display shifted to show a massive network of satellites, invisible to conventional sensors, that encircled the Earth. Each node contained technology that the Drachnids would consider impossible for humans to possess. "The mesh is operating at 98% efficiency," her assistant reported. "The quantum entanglement grid is stable, and the AI defense systems are fully integrated. We can have the entire network online in less than 3 minutes." Natalia allowed herself a small smile. The Drachnids, like many advanced civilizations, had become complacent in their technological superiority. They relied on their advanced sensors and weapons, never considering that a primitive species might have found ways to bypass them entirely. "Begin Phase 2, she ordered. "Activate the Deep Space Monitoring Network. I want to know every move their fleet makes as they approach." She paused, considering the next step. "And contact the Artemis base on the far side of the moon. Tell them to begin manufacturing additional quantum torpedoes." As the orders went out, Natalia thought about the irony of the situation. The Drachnids believed they were about to conquer a helpless world. Instead, they were about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity. Earth's apparent weakness was its greatest strength, an illusion crafted over decades of patient preparation. In the depths of space, Admiral Jorax's ship began its journey back to the Empire, carrying its report of an easily conquered world. Behind it, Earth's quantum sensors tracked its every move, while beneath the surface, humanity's real fleet waited in hidden bases, crews trained and ready for the coming storm. The whispers of war were growing louder, but only humanity knew the true sound of the approaching thunder. The Drachnid diplomatic vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere with calculated grandeur, its crystalline hull catching the sunlight in a deliberate display of technological superiority. Ambassador Therax stood at the command center, his iridescent scales shifting from deep purple to gold as he contemplated the approaching landing site outside the United Nations headquarters in New York. "Remember," he addressed his crew, mandibles clicking in precise patterns that conveyed authority, "we must maintain the pretense of peaceful contact. Let these primitives believe they have a choice in their submission to the Empire." On the ground, Dr. Natalia Romano watched the approach from within a conventional military command center. The public one, not the quantum-shielded facility deep beneath Antarctica. She wore the uniform of a standard military advisor, nothing that would hint at her true role as humanity's chief defense strategist. The landing was a spectacle designed to awe humanity. The Drachnid ship touched down with perfect precision, its energy field creating a subtle light show that drew gasps from the assembled crowd. As Ambassador Therax emerged, flanked by his guards, Natalia studied their equipment with careful eyes. Every piece of their technology was being scanned by hidden sensors, adding to Earth's already substantial database of Drachnid capabilities. "Welcome to Earth," the UN Secretary-General greeted them, following the carefully rehearsed protocol. "We are honored by your presence." Ambassador Therax's translator converted his resonant speech into human languages. "The Drachnid Empire extends its greetings to your world. We have watched your development with great interest and believe the time has come to welcome you into the galactic community." The diplomatic dance began. Over the next several weeks, the Drachnids presented themselves as benevolent mentors, offering glimpses of advanced technology while carefully assessing Earth's capabilities. They visited major cities, met with world leaders, and conducted what they believed were thorough scans of human military installations. What they saw satisfied their preconceptions: a planet with rudimentary spaceflight, nuclear fission power, and primitive AI systems, exactly what their initial scans had suggested. The humans appeared appropriately awed by Drachnid technology, asking questions that confirmed their technological naivety. But beneath the surface, Earth was far from naive. In secure facilities around the world, quantum computers analyzed every piece of data gathered from the Drachnid delegation. Their weapons, their shields, their communication systems. All were being compared against humanity's own advanced systems, refined through decades of secret development. General Marcus Way coordinated these efforts from a hidden base beneath the Pacific Ocean. "Their technological development has been remarkably linear," he reported during a secure quantum-encrypted conference. "They followed predictable paths of advancement, never considering alternative approaches. It's made them vulnerable." Ambassador Therax grew increasingly confident in his reports to the Empire. "These humans are perfectly positioned for conquest," he wrote. "Their technology is primitive, but their infrastructure is well developed. They will make excellent additions to the Empire once properly subjugated." But he wasn't completely without suspicion. During a tour of an experimental human space station, something caught his attention. "Your progress in artificial gravity is impressive for your level of development," he commented to Natalia, who had been assigned as his guide. "We've been fortunate in our research," she replied smoothly, "though it's nothing compared to your own capabilities." The ambassador's 6 eyes narrowed slightly. "Indeed. Yet I notice subtle variations in the gravitational field that seem unusual for such early technology." Natalia maintained her calm demeanor, but internally she made a note. The ambassador was more perceptive than they had anticipated. The gravitational irregularities were actually from the quantum stabilizers hidden within the station's structure, technology far beyond what Earth was supposed to possess. "Our scientists are still refining the system," she explained. "It's not as stable as we'd like." The ambassadors seemed to accept this, but Natalia knew they'd need to be more careful. The deception had to be maintained for just a few more weeks, until the Drachnid Empire committed their invasion fleet. Everything hinged on the element of surprise. In the hidden facility beneath Antarctica, preparation continued. The quantum mesh defense system was fully operational, disguised as simple communication satellites. The fleet of advanced warships waited in underground bases and lunar facilities, their crews training constantly. The automated drone swarms were ready for deployment, their quantum AI systems far more sophisticated than anything the Drachnids possessed. As Natalia watched the ambassador's ship depart Earth for another report to his superiors, she knew the next phase would begin soon. The Drachnids would abandon their diplomatic pretense and launch their invasion, confident in their superior numbers and technology, and humanity would be ready. "Begin final preparation sequences," she ordered through secure channels. The deception won't hold much longer. The pieces were in place. The greatest surprise in galactic history was about to unfold, and only humanity knew what was coming. The Drachnid invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, 10,000 ships strong, their crystalline hulls creating a spectacular light show against the backdrop of space. Grand Admiral Kylox stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Empire's Fist, watching as Earth grew larger in their view screens. "Begin the attack sequence," he commanded, his scales rippling with anticipation. "Show these primitives the true might of the Drachnid Empire." The first wave of Drachnid ships moved into position, their weapon systems charging. On their sensors, Earth's defenses appeared pathetically inadequate. A handful of primitive satellites, a few small space stations, and some rudimentary orbital defense platforms. In her command center deep beneath Antarctica, Dr. Natalia Romano watched the Drachnid fleet's approach on quantum-enhanced displays. Around her, the command staff worked with calm efficiency, their years of training evident in their focused demeanor. "They're deploying exactly as our simulations predicted," she noted. "Time to show them what humanity is really capable of." She gave a slight nod to General Wei. "Execute Operation Revelation." The general pressed his palm against a quantum-secured console. Authentication confirmed. Deploying quantum mesh defense grid across Earth orbit. Thousands of seemingly innocent satellites suddenly transformed, the quantum camouflage that had hidden their true nature dissolving to reveal advanced weapon platforms and defense systems. The primitive orbital stations shimmered and changed, their outer shells falling away to reveal state-of-the-art battle stations. Grand Admiral Kylox's first indication that something was wrong came when his sensors suddenly screamed warnings. Where moments before they had detected only primitive technology, now they were registering energy signatures that should have been impossible for humans to achieve. "Impossible," he breathed, watching as the holographic display updated with thousands of new threats. "Their technology. It can't be." Before he could complete his thought, the first wave of Earth's counterattack began. The quantum mesh defense grid activated, creating an interlocking network of energy fields that disrupted Drachnid targeting systems. From the dark side of the moon, humanity's hidden fleet emerged, sleek, angular vessels that bore little resemblance to their public space program ships. "All ships, battle formations," Kylox ordered, but the humans weren't fighting according to any conventional tactics he recognized. Their vessels moved in patterns that seemed chaotic, but were actually coordinated by quantum AI systems far more advanced than Drachnid combat computers. The first salvos from Earth's defense grid struck with devastating precision. Quantum torpedoes phased through Drachnid shields as if they didn't exist, their warheads detonating with perfectly calculated force. Swarms of autonomous drones, each powered by a miniature quantum core, overwhelmed Drachnid point defense systems. Fleet Commander Diana Patul led the lunar fleet's assault, her ships executing maneuvers that the Drachnids had considered theoretically impossible. "Target their command and control systems," she ordered. "Minimal casualties, maximum disruption. In the command center, Natalia watched as the battle unfolded according to plans decades in the making. "Deploy the EMIS protocol," she ordered. Across the solar system, hidden weapons platforms activated. Automated factories on Mercury burst from beneath the planet's surface, launching waves of solar-powered drone fighters. Bases on Mars revealed themselves, firing gravitational disruption beams that tore Drachnid ships apart at the atomic level. Grand Admiral Kylox watched in horror as his mighty fleet began to crumble. Their weapons, they're using principles we've never seen before. How could they have developed this technology in secret? The answer, of course, was human ingenuity combined with decades of preparation. The quantum technology reverse-engineered from the crashed probe had been just the beginning. Human scientists had taken those principles and developed them in directions the Drachnids had never imagined. "We're not just using your technology," Natalia murmured as she watched the battle unfold. "We've surpassed it." The Empire's fist shuddered as another quantum torpedo struck home. "We must retreat," Kylox ordered. "All ships, emergency hyperspace jump." But even retreat wasn't as simple as the Drachnids expected. Earth's quantum mesh grid had created localized distortions in spacetime, making hyperspace calculations dangerously unreliable. Ships that attempted to jump found themselves torn apart or flung off course. "Your attention, please." Natalia's voice broadcast across all frequencies, translated perfectly into Drachnid language. "Your fleet is surrounded and outgunned. Your hyperspace capabilities have been neutralized. We suggest you consider surrender." In the silence that followed, the Drachnid admiral stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Half his fleet was already destroyed or disabled. The humans' weapons struck with impossible precision. Their defenses proved impenetrable to Drachnid technology, and their tactics demonstrated a level of coordination that shouldn't have been possible. "How?" he transmitted back. "You were primitive. We saw your technology level." "You saw what we wanted you to see," Natalia replied. "Humanity learned long ago that appearing weak while being strong was the greatest tactical advantage of all." As the battle entered its final phase, the true extent of humanity's preparation became clear. This wasn't just a defensive victory. It was a complete reversal of everything the Drachnids thought they knew about human civilization. The storm had broken, but it wasn't the storm the Drachnids had expected. Instead of crushing a primitive civilization, they had awakened a technological giant that had been waiting patiently in the shadows, preparing for this very moment. In the aftermath of the initial battle, Earth's orbital space was littered with the crystalline debris of Drachnid warships. The Empire's fist, once the magnificent flagship of the invasion fleet, now drifted powerless, surrounded by human vessels that seemed to fade in and out of sensor range at will. Fleet Commander Diana Pottle stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Hyperion, humanity's most advanced vessel. Her dark eyes studied the tactical displays as rescue pods were collected from the disabled Drachnid ships. The Hyperion represented everything humanity had achieved in secret, a perfect fusion of reverse-engineered alien technology and human innovation. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the historic nature of the moment. 70% of the Drachnid fleet has been neutralized, her tactical officer reported. "The remaining vessels are trapped by our quantum mesh grid. We're detecting multiple distress calls being broadcast toward Drachnid space." Diana nodded. Those distress calls were exactly what they had been waiting for. "Begin Phase 2. Deploy the Genesis protocol." Throughout the solar system, hidden quantum arrays activated. These devices, carefully positioned over decades, began transmitting signals that propagated through subspace at speeds the Drachnids had thought impossible. The messages reached Earth's secretly established outposts in nearby star systems, triggering the next phase of humanity's long-term strategy. Grand Admiral Kylox, now a prisoner on his own bridge, watched in growing horror as his tactical display showed new human fleets emerging in systems that should have been secure Drachnid territory. "How far does your influence extend?" he whispered. Diana stepped onto the Empire's Fist's bridge. With a gesture, she materialized a holographic display showing the true extent of human preparation. Secret bases in asteroid belts, automated manufacturing facilities hidden in gas-giant atmospheres, quantum communication relays disguised as natural phenomena. Humanity's reach extended far beyond what anyone had suspected. While you watched our public space program launch chemical rockets, Diana explained, our real ships were exploring the galaxy. While you monitored our primitive satellites, our quantum probes were mapping your empire. We've been preparing for this moment for 50 years. The Drachnid Admiral's scales had lost their luster. Why maintain such deception? Why not simply announce your presence to the galaxy? Diana's expression remained neutral. Because humanity learned from our own history. When technologically advanced civilizations encounter less developed ones, the results are rarely beneficial for the latter. We chose to advance in secret, to be ready when the galaxy finally noticed us. On quantum-encrypted channels, reports were coming in from across Drachnid space. Earth's hidden fleets were systematically neutralizing military installations and shipyards, but they weren't destroying them. Instead, human ships were using precisely calibrated quantum fields to disable Drachnid technology while leaving infrastructure intact. You're not seeking revenge, Kylox realized, watching the tactical displays. This isn't about destruction. No, Diana confirmed. This is about survival and establishing a new balance of power. Humanity has no interest in empire building or subjugation. We simply refuse to be subjugated ourselves. The human counter-offensive moved with precision and purpose. Quantum drives allowed their ships to appear seemingly at will throughout Drachnid space. Their weapons could disable rather than destroy. Their defense systems rendered Drachnid technology nearly useless, and their tactical AI systems coordinated movements with impossible precision. But it was the psychological impact that proved most devastating to Drachnid morale. The revelation that a supposedly primitive species had not only matched but surpassed their technology shattered centuries of Drachnid superiority. The empire that had thought itself invincible found itself helpless against an enemy they had grievously underestimated. In the Drachnid capital, the Imperial Council watched in stunned silence as reports flooded in. Their mighty empire, which had dominated this sector of the galaxy for millennia, had been outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitives. The humans hadn't just defeated their fleet, they had revealed themselves as a technological superpower that had been hiding in plain sight. Back on the Hyperion, Diana reviewed the latest strategic updates. Earth's quantum mesh technology was being deployed throughout Drachnid space, creating a network that could detect and counter any attempted military response. The message to the galaxy was clear. Humanity would not be conquered, but neither would they become conquerors. What happens now? Kylox asked, his voice carrying the weight of his people's shattered confidence. Diana turned to him, her expression softening slightly. Now we negotiate as equals. Humanity is ready to share some of our advancements to help establish a more balanced and peaceful galaxy. But first, your empire needs to understand that the age of conquest is over. The counter-offensive had achieved its objectives without resorting to wholesale destruction. Humanity had demonstrated both its power and its restraint, setting the stage for a fundamental shift in galactic politics. The species that had been dismissed as primitive had revealed itself to be anything but, and the galaxy would never be the same. 1 year after the failed invasion of Earth, the galactic landscape had changed dramatically. The Great Hall of the newly established Galactic Concordat buzzed with activity as representatives from dozens of species gathered for the historic First General Assembly. At the center of it all stood Dr. Natalia Romano, now Earth's primary representative to the interstellar community. The Drachnid Empire's former palace had been transformed into a center for diplomatic cooperation. Where once crystalline thrones had dominated, now stood circular discussion chambers designed for equality. The message was clear. The age of imperial dominance was over. Former Grand Admiral Kylox, now serving as the Drachnid representative to the Concordat, approached Natalia before the session began. His scales had regained their luster, though now they shifted through thoughtful shades of blue rather than the aggressive reds of his military days. "You've changed everything," he said quietly. "Not just the balance of power, but how species view each other in this galaxy." Natalia nodded, watching as representatives from formerly subjugated worlds took their places in the chamber. That was always the goal. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to learn from history and imagine different futures. The changes rippling through galactic society went far beyond politics. Earth's quantum technology, selectively shared with other species, had revolutionized everything from medicine to environmental restoration. But more importantly, humanity's example had sparked a renaissance of innovation throughout the galaxy. Fleet Commander Diana Patul, who now led the Concordate's peacekeeping force, presented her report to the Assembly. The quantum mesh network, once used to trap the Drachnid fleet, had been repurposed into an early warning system that helped prevent conflicts before they could begin. Ships that once carried weapons now transported scientific expeditions and humanitarian aid. "We've documented a 60% decrease in interspecies conflicts," she announced. "The remaining disputes are being resolved through diplomatic channels, with technological cooperation replacing military confrontation." In the depths of space, the evidence of this new era was clear. The automated factories on Mercury now produced medical nanites that could cure once terminal diseases. The Mars facilities had been converted into research centers where scientists from different species worked together to solve common challenges. Even the quantum AI systems that had coordinated Earth's defense now helped optimize resource distribution throughout the galaxy. General Marcus Way, leading Earth's diplomatic security division, had worked closely with former enemies to establish new protocols for technological development. The key, he explained to a group of young diplomats, was showing that advancement doesn't have to come at the cost of others' freedom. The transformation hadn't been without challenges. Some elements of the old order had resisted change, attempting to maintain their former dominance. But humanity's hidden preparations had included contingencies for such resistance. The same networks that had revealed Earth's power now helped maintain stability, not through force, but through transparency and cooperation. "We kept our advancements secret not out of fear," Natalia addressed the Assembly, "but because we needed to demonstrate a fundamental truth. True power lies not in the ability to destroy or dominate, but in the wisdom to know when not to use that power." The gallery erupted in approval, representatives from hundreds of worlds recognizing the profound shift this philosophy represented. The age of empire had given way to an era of collaboration, where technological advancement served the common good rather than imperial ambition. In a quiet moment after the session, Natalia stood with Diana and Marcus, watching the sunset through the Great Hall's quantum-enhanced windows. The view showed not just the local star, but real-time images from across the galaxy, a reminder of how far they'd come and how connected they now were. "Did you ever imagine, when we were building those first hidden bases, that it would end like this?" Marcus asked. Diana smiled. "Not an ending, a beginning. We're seeing the first steps of what's possible when species work together instead of against each other." Natalia touched the quantum interface that connected her to humanity's vast network of sensors and computers. The same technology that had once hidden their advancement now helped coordinate the greatest cooperative endeavor in galactic history. "That was always the real deception protocol," she said softly. "Not just hiding our strength, but preparing to use it to build something better. We didn't just want to survive in the galaxy. We wanted to help create a galaxy worth living in." As night fell on the capital world, ships from 100 species moved peacefully through the spaces where battles had once been fought. The quantum mesh network hummed silently, maintaining its vigilant watch not for enemies, but for opportunities to help and connect. Humanity had revealed itself not just as a technological superpower, but as architects of a new way forward. The age of deception had ended. The age of collaboration had begun. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, the next generation of explorers, human and alien alike, prepared to venture into the unknown together, guided not by dreams of conquest, but by the shared pursuit of knowledge and understanding.